Mindfulness, meditation, and trauma. That's what we are going to talk about today. This is Now Tell Us. I'm your host, Anthony Morore. At Now Tell Us, we have guests come and tell us stories. They come and inspire us. They come and educate us on a topic that they are passionate about. And always, we are having great guests come join us. And that means, when I say always, even today is another day that we have a great guest with us who is known as Jessica Proulx, to tell us about this mindfulness, meditation, and trauma. Please remember to share this with all your friends. If you have a comment, please make it. We appreciate feedback. If you have a question as we are going on, ask it and we will be glad to answer it. And now, without taking one more minute, please join me as we go together to meet our guest today, Jessica. Here we go. Hello, Jessica.
Hi, Anthony. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Wonderful. Where
Yeah.
are you? Where in the world are you?
So I live in Connecticut in the US, in New
Okay.
England, so pretty close to New York City, in between New York City and Boston.
And how is the weather today? I'm
It
curious.
is very warm and very sticky. It's
So
muggy. Yeah.
you're just on the onset of summer, I guess.
Yes, yes, we are. It's normally our summer. It starts to be warm much earlier than it has been this year, so we're just starting to warm up a little bit.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming to Now Tell Us
Yeah.
to share with us about this topic, mindfulness, meditation, and trauma, and how they are connected.
Hmm.
And we would like you to just dive us into it and let us know about everything that you want to share with us today.
Sure.
Mhm.
So I am a mindfulness and meditation and yoga teacher, and I've been teaching those topics for about 22 years, so for a long time. And in the last several years, there's been so much research and so much shift in the way that we teach our students because we are so mindful of our students' trauma. We're so mindful of facilitators' trauma and sort of how we can use these very ancient practices to help people to heal their bodies, to help heal their minds, to help heal spiritually, and for people to have the best lives that they possibly can. And so much of the work that we have done that has been around for thousands and thousands of years has shifted so much with modern science. And it's not even really a shift, right? Because so much of this ancient wisdom just models modern science.
Mhm.
These ancient sages, they knew all of this information many thousands of years ago. Our bodies are so wise, our minds are so wise, and they know how to heal, they know what they need, and it just sometimes takes the right people to unleash that and for us to be able to use those tools and teach other people to use those tools.
Mm.
And that is what yeah, that's what I've done for a very long time.
Okay, beautiful. And maybe we could start with some definitions for some
Sure.
people who may not have an idea of what it is that we are talking about. And we can go one by one. Maybe what's mindfulness? What do you mean by mindfulness?
Sure.
I have a mind, and does it mean
Yeah.
one is full or what?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, we all have a mind, and many of us, most of us, our minds are all over the place.
Mm,
In the yoga world, we call that vritti. We call that the fluctuations of the mind. And what mindfulness and meditation teach us is to calm that chatter and to be able to get past sort of the illusions that our mind puts on us all day long, right? Our
mhm,
mind can falsely tell us to be fearful. Our mind can falsely tell us to be anxious or to be nervous or to worry about what's going to happen in the future or what has happened in the past and sort of dwell on that. And what mindfulness and meditation teaches is that we need to learn to be present in this moment. We need to
Mhm.
learn to be able to recognize that in this moment, right now, I'm safe. In this moment, right now, I'm okay. There's nothing happening. So it's learning to be able to calm that constant chatter of the mind. And that chatter is of no fault of our own,
Mhm.
right? We live in a society that is always moving. It's always chaotic. We spend so much time glued to our phones. We spend so much time glued to the television. We are inundated with information from the outside world
Mhm.
constantly. And so mindfulness and meditation teaches us to learn to shut that off a little bit. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean that you learn to completely shut the mind down.
Mhm.
It's not learning to just have blank space, right?
Mhm.
And maybe in very advanced techniques of mindfulness and meditation, we do get there perhaps,
Mhm.
but it's really learning to be comfortable with sensations, to be
Mhm.
comfortable with the way that you're feeling, even if the way that you're feeling doesn't feel good, just to know that you're still okay. And we teach often about being comfortable, being uncomfortable,
Mhm.
and so beginning to learn those techniques helps people to calm the mind, and once we calm the mind we also begin to heal the body, and we're able to heal spiritually. And so it all starts with learning to quiet all of that stuff down.
Mm. And I think I have an idea what meditation is. So sitting there thinking about, oh, but maybe a clearer picture from you because maybe it's not what I think it is.
Yeah, yeah, and it that definition could change drastically depending on the philosophy that you're discussing, right?
Okay.
And so the ancient philosophies that I teach of what's called yoga darshana,
Mhm.
it's the school of yoga. In that form of meditation, we're really talking about finding a connection with the deepest aspect of what you truly are.
Mm.
So recognizing that you are not just this physical form, you're not just this human body,
Mhm.
right? But there's this spark of light within you. There
Mhm.
is an eternal light within you. In some parts of the world, they would call that light your soul. Other parts of the world, in what I teach, we call that a word called prakriti. Prakriti is the body. It's called purusha. It just means consciousness.
Mhm.
um, some philosophical teachers call that love. The truest aspect of what and who I am is love.
Mhm.
And all of the other stuff is just stuff. It's just your body, it's just your mind.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, what you truly are is love. And
Okay.
so it's learning to transcend this physical experience and learning to sit with the true nature of what you are. And the true nature of what you are is love, is
Mhm.
compassion, is peace, right?
Mhm.
And all of this other stuff is just an illusion.
Yeah, and thank you very much for that. And as you're talking about this, you're basing them on yoga, and some of
Mhm.
us and some of the audience may not be familiar with yoga. Is yoga a religion or what is it?
Sure. Oh, I get that question all the time. And again, it will depend on who you're speaking to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So often in the West, yoga is thought of as a series of movement and breath exercises that lead you toward meditation. And
Mm-hmm.
it can be. But the yogas, like if we used a capital Y, the yogas are all of the philosophical bodies that came from the subcontinent of India. So we're talking about yoga as being one of the schools of Hinduism, which it is,
Mm-hmm.
and Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, these are all the yogas. And what
Okay.
yoga means is the removal of suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And the removal of suffering in yoga is recognizing that you are more than just this physical being, that you are this spark of love. And
Mm-hmm.
there's many different paths to yoga. So there's many different ways that people do those practices, whether it be through meditation or deep devotional spiritual practice. Everybody's different. So
Mm-hmm.
for some, yoga, yes, is considered a religion. For others, yoga is considered a philosophical body.
Mm.
And for others, it could be even more superficial. And it could be something more of just learning to connect mind and body. So it depends on the philosophy that you're referring to. And there's many, many. So this would be way bigger than a half an hour conversation.
Yeah, okay. Oh, thank you for that insight.
Sure.
Yeah, and now the connection between mindfulness, meditation, and trauma.
Yes.
Tell us, because it's something that you're passionate on.
Yeah. So trauma is such a big, hot topic word right now. And I think
Mm,
it's because we are recognizing as a society that many, most, all humans have pain,
mm,
right? Have
mhm,
suffering. And we need to recognize that and cultivate a sense of compassion when we are working with and being in relationship with other human beings.
mhm,
That every person that you are talking to, every person that you work with, every person that you see on the television has some level of pain, right? And for some, it is trauma.
mhm,
And trauma typically happens from a very deep wound experience that could be from a level of abuse or neglect or a near a near death experience, which can be a near life experience, I suppose.
yeah.
Um, um, and so trauma has many different layers, and we all as humans have a different capacity to handle life's stressors.
Mm,
And so you and I can experience the exact same situation, right?
mhm,
We can be in a car together, driving down the road, and our car skids out of control and it just passes another car. And both of us in that moment thought we would die.
mhm,
And our capacity to handle that trauma looks very different. I may walk away from that experience and it does nothing. I
mm,
don't think about it again. You know, once in a while a memory pops up, but I don't hold it in my body. I don't have anxiety or post traumatic stress.
yeah.
And you may walk away from that event and have difficulty sleeping and have trouble with anxiety. And you may feel different parts of your body have sensations that you had never had before because of that
Mhm,
experience.
mhm,
And so, what we're learning is that we need to develop tools for all of these different human experiences so that we can be healthy and happy and whole as human beings without relying on medication, right?
okay.
Without relying on, which I'm not speaking badly about medication. Medication is very necessary for
Mhm,
many people,
mhm,
but that there are other tools that people can utilize that can help them through the stress of life, whether we call that stress trauma, whether there was a
mhm.
trauma experience, or whether it's just the day to day stuff that takes a toll and makes us tired and unhappy.
Yeah. So, with your practice, and you've been working with different kinds of clients, and they've used this alternative that you're suggesting. What has been your experience? I mean, what has been the reports that you've been getting?
Sure. So, what happens often is when we start to work with different clients in yoga and meditation and mindfulness practices, a lot of it begins with the breath work.
Mm,
And so we start to teach people how to breathe. And again, you said before when we talked about mindfulness, I have a mind, and people think all the time, I know I breathe all day long. But the learning to calm the breath, learning to expand the breath, is this very potent tool to calm the mind and the body down. And this is proven through science time and time and again.
Mm-hmm.
And when we teach our students how to breathe, when we teach our students how to sit, how to relax, how to be with themselves, how to be compassionate towards themselves, so often our students report that their anxiety is lessened,
Mm-hmm.
they are less reactive, so they're able to handle stress in a much healthier way. They're able to have better relationships with their family, their children, their coworkers, and it helps people sleep better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most importantly, it helps people to recognize that they have inherent value, that just by being human, that just by being you, that
Mm-hmm.
just by being this entity of love, you inherently are valuable. And when you have this greater sense of value toward yourself, you treat yourself differently. And
Mm-hmm.
when you treat yourself differently, you treat the people around you differently. It's a domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
The more that you learn to love yourself and to value yourself through these practices, the better everything around you becomes. You see the world in a very, very different way. And when we are working with people who have suffered trauma, trauma makes us look at the world as though it is scary all
Mm-hmm.
the time,
Mm-hmm.
right? And even the way the world is right now, we may just believe the world is a scary place. And right now, when I'm sitting here talking to you, is the world scary in this moment? No, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I am having a conversation with someone I've not had the pleasure of speaking to before. We're
Mm-hmm.
in a different place in the world, right? We're talking about beautiful, happy, amazing things because the world is a beautiful place and there's so much happiness and there's so much joy.
Sure.
And so it's about learning to change the mindset and recognizing that, yes, there are scary things. And yes, life can be very stressful, but at its core, it's beautiful. At
Mm.
its core, every moment of the day may not be beautiful, but you learn to recognize the ones that are. And so I may have had a very stressful morning and I may have a stressful afternoon, but right now is not. And in the now, I know, wow, how amazing is this, right?
Mhm.
How incredible that we can share this time together.
Yeah.
And so it's learning to be grateful and be present in those moments and be able to say like, wow, how cool is this? This is amazing. And it makes life different, right? It makes life
Sure.
feel better. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. Now, as I was scrolling around through the internet, I came across a photo that is looking like this.
Yes.
Can you tell us, has it anything to do with what we are talking about today?
Yes,
What
absolutely.
is that?
So,
What is that?
yeah.
And how does it come into play?
Absolutely. So that is my amazing friend, Lisa Buckley.
Mm.
Lisa is a professional puppeteer. She's
Okay.
one of the most incredible human beings I've ever met. And she works very closely with mindfulness, meditation, and trauma all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And she has worked in war torn regions of the world and poverty stricken regions of the world, and she teaches, and we both teach together, um, how to incorporate mindfulness, meditation, and puppetry. You saw Charlie, the puppet there,
Mm.
when working with both children and adults through trauma situations.
Okay.
Studies really show that children are better able to respond to traumatic events. They're able to speak more openly when they're speaking to something that's not scary,
Mm-hmm.
like a monkey,
Mm-hmm.
rather than speaking to a big, tall, scary human being, right?
Mm-hmm.
Charlie is not fear inducing. He's cute and fun and silly. And so we teach a program that's called At Play. And we teach adults this facilitation of working with puppetry, mindfulness, and meditation with children. We teach counselors and teachers and humanitarian aid workers how to use these different practices. And it doesn't just have to be with children with trauma, we teach all children. Um, but we use all of these different practices to allow children to have fun and to be playful and to learn to calm their mind and to learn to breathe and to also learn that it's okay to be silly and it's okay for their bodies to want to get all of that energy out because that's what children do.
Mm,
And so we create very safe environments for them to do that. And we teach the adults in their lives how to also start to incorporate those practices when working with children because what research has shown is using mindfulness, using meditation, using puppetry, it increases positive outcomes in education. It increases positive outcomes in emotional and mental health. It creates better relationships, social emotional learning.
mhm.
And one of the greatest parts is that it creates better outcomes for the adults in that situation.
Okay.
And so it makes the adults better able to cope with the stress of being a therapist, to
Mhm,
better cope with the stress of being a humanitarian aid worker or an educator. And by the adult having a better outcome, by the adult having a more positive experience, it in turn helps the children have a more positive experience. And so
mm,
this also decreases burnout for the facilitator and it increases the likelihood that they will feel better about their job and they will have better mental health experiences
mm.
by using these programs.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah,
And now that's a program. That's one of the practices that you do. You have
yeah,
some other strategies or programs and things like that. And I'm curious to know what are they like? The programs? Do you have? Is it monthly? Is it how?
sure,
What are they? The tools, the
sure.
strategies, all of them.
Yeah, yeah. One of the greatest things that we have available on our website is yourdirectpath.com. And on our website, we actually have a free resources section. So
Okay.
we offer free resources to anyone who visits our website. They could read articles that we've written, they could practice meditation, they could learn about the different programs that we offer. We have programming for children there as well, so different mindfulness and meditation stories that are narrated by my friend Lisa, who you saw a moment ago. And there's all of these different characters, Charlie, who you just saw, and all of that sort of thing. We also offer retreats around the world. So we teach in different areas of the world where we do mindfulness, meditation, and yoga for a week, typically at a time. Our next one is coming up in Costa Rica in February.
Okay.
And we teach in this beautiful, luxurious location in the jungle, and people can come and learn mindfulness practices, meditation practices, eat good, nutritious, healthy food, come back to the earth, come back to being present with nature and meet new friends and really have that opportunity to truly come back to themselves. It's a beautiful experience. It's much different than just going on vacation, right?
Mm,
It's vacation times 10 because you have this holiday, this beautiful vacation, and you also have this opportunity to really deeply care for and nurture yourself and learn all of these practices that you can carry with you. And
mm,
we also teach people how to be yoga teachers and how to be meditation teachers and how to start to share all of these things with the world. And one of the beautiful things that we include in the way that we train people is that instead of just training people to be a meditation teacher, for instance,
mm,
we teach people how to be a meditation teacher in the field that they're already in. So we're not saying become a meditation teacher and, leave your life and go, teach people meditation, which you can do also. It's a beautiful thing. But we teach people how to use research methods, how to use all of these different techniques, and they can use meditation in the corporate world. They could use meditation in education, working with children, or in collegiate education and working with college students. We teach people in the mental health industry, in hospitals, because these tools can be used in every aspect of life. And so we see such increases in positive outcomes when people learn these different tools. And so we teach people how to learn these tools and then teach them within their industry,
Hmm.
which is something that I think really sets our trainings apart from many others.
Okay. Yeah, so to all of you who are viewing or listening, the website that has been mentioned is www.yourdirectpath.com, where you can connect with Jessica and find out more about mindfulness, meditation, and trauma, and much more.
Yes. And much more. So
And
much
much,
more.
and so
Yeah.
much more. Yeah, so Costa Rica is coming in February.
It is. We can't wait. It is my favorite place in the entire world, and I have traveled to many, many places. But
What other many places have you been to?
oh my goodness. So I teach often in Central America. So I love Costa Rica and Belize. I studied abroad in college in Thailand. So I spent a little bit of time in Bangkok and in Chiang Mai, Thailand.
Hmm.
Um, and I travel all over the US teaching in California and Hawaii and another area in Arizona. And so, yeah, I had the opportunity to really bounce around the world quite a bit. And it's been that's my favorite experience of life is traveling and meeting new people and experiencing new cultures and eating new food
Yeah,
and diving into all of that stuff
I
is
love food
it's
too.
the most beautiful it's just the most beautiful experience of life.
Yeah, I love food too and experiencing some different cultures.
Yeah.
Apart from the countries that you've been to, where is it that you desire to go in future? Which other places,
Yes.
which countries?
Yes. Well, this is a ridiculous answer, but it's absolutely the truth. I want to go everywhere. So if I have the opportunity to let my feet land on the vast majority of the globe, I would and I will. You could see the um, globe there, the map there behind me. That's my
Yeah.
inspiration every day.
Uh,
But the top of my list right now is Switzerland. Actually, it's Switzerland has been a big one that has been the top of my list for a while,
mm-hmm.
and so that's an area that I'd love to go. And I've never been to Eastern Europe, and so that's a big one for me as well. Austria, Hungary, Germany, that area, and going through the mountains and the hills and
Yeah,
just
beautiful,
yeah,
beautiful places. They're
yeah,
beautiful places. I remember there's a picture of Switzerland that I used. Is it the Alps or what?
yes.
It's with a beautiful
Oh,
background. I used to have it like you're having it, your map there. I haven't been there. I dream of going there sometime.
yes. Well, if I do a retreat there, I'll let you know, and you could come and learn more about meditation, and we could discover the Swiss Alps together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it's been wonderful having you on our show. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
you coming and sharing with us all that you have shared with us.
Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure.
Yes, and now it's just about the time to leave. But before you go, we'd ask you to leave us with a few words that we should always remember. Which are they?
Always remember that the person sitting next to you is struggling just as much as you are. So be kind, be loving, be generous to everyone that you meet because we are all trying to get through this crazy experience of being human, and being human is not easy. And so be kind to each other, love each other.
Hmm. Thank you for that.
Yes,
Everyone that is around you is struggling in one way or the other, in one area
absolutely.
or the other. Be kind.
Yes. Be kind.
That's a good reminder.
Mm.
Yes, and we appreciate you for that.
Yes. Thank you.
So that's about it. Thank you very much. And
You
to
are so
all,
welcome.
yeah, and to all the viewers or listeners, and also those who get to listen or watch after we are through with this show, we appreciate you taking your time and watching it in its entirety. Remember to share it with your friends, subscribe to our channels, go to the website. Again, I remind you before we go, the website is yourdirectpath.com.
Thank you.
Yes, and yeah, this has been Now Tell Us. I've been your host, Anthony Murore. And together with our guest today, Jessica Proulx, we're saying bye.
Bye bye.
Until next time.